There is no reward in life without risk. This morning, having that cup of coffee, I was on X, seeing what was going on in the world, and happened to come across an excerpt from, I believe, the Lex Fridman podcast. And one of my favorite authors, Walter Isaacson, was speaking. And I'm going to read you a piece of the quote here, because I think it's nothing short of incredible. He says, "I've had a gentle, sweet career, and I've got to cover really interesting people." Side note, that's what he does. He writes a lot of really good biographies. He did Elon Musk's biography, Steve Jobs' biography, just really, really good author. Back to the quote. He says, "But I've never shot off a rocket that might someday get to Mars. I've never moved us into the era of electric vehicles. I've never stayed up all night on the factory floor. I don't have quite those, either the drives or the addiction to risk." He then goes on. "I mean, Elon's addicted to risk. He's addicted to adventure. Me, if I see something that's risky, I spend some time calculating. Okay, upside, downside here. But," and here's the best part of the quote, "that's another reason that people like Elon Musk get stuff done and people like me write about the Elon Musks." When I saw that, I couldn't help but pause, because here's someone I admire greatly. I don't think there's anyone in the world that takes such complex characters and people and tells their story in such an incredible way. He's built an entire career doing this, and he's reflecting on the difference between documenting life and daring to create it, between writing about the rockets and building them. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is a personal opinion. Sure, he's not sending rockets to Mars. But the courage to start writing and to put yourself out there like that is not nothing. So it's not 0 and 100 here, but I think you get the point. There are people that build, that put all of themselves on the line, and then there are people who view that, who analyze that, and give their opinions on that. And they're very different things. You know, that quote brought me back to a truth I've wrestled with my whole life. It's essentially the difference between safety and risk, between holding on to what you know and betting on what you could be. See, safety is comfortable. It's logical. It lets you sleep at night. It is the warm blanket in the middle of the storm, and for a long time, that was me. It might be you now, maybe it was you in the past. Right? I thought if I just stayed calculated, if I minimized risk, then success would be inevitable. But here's what I've learned. Avoiding risk does not guarantee safety, but it does guarantee something. You know what that is? Stagnation. It guarantees your story never makes it past the opening chapter. And what that quote emphasized is that at the core of every great story, there must be risk. There's a timeless anecdote that, when I searched for it, is associated with Cortez. I'm not sure how true that is, but regardless, right? The idea in and of itself is powerful. As the story goes, in 1519, he stood at the shores of the New World with, his hundreds of men staring at a vast unknown, and his order was famously, "Burn the ships." Why? Because that act makes retreat no longer an option. That means the only way forward is through. Because when you eliminate the safety net, you find out what you're truly capable of. You don't accidentally put rockets on Mars, you go all in. That becomes your life. Similarly, Cortez in this story is eliminating all off-ramps. It highlights the principle progress requires risk, the willingness to step into an unknown. Cortez understood something that Elon Musk understands. Assuming that's actually Cortez's quote, of course. But the idea is, if you want to reshape the world, you have to be willing to put something on the line. Now, I've had those micro moments in my life. I'm sure you have as well. Moments standing at a crossroads where we have to decide, do we stay comfortable or do we put ourselves out there? And every season of life has different variations of this. Right now, for me, it's particular business ventures that contain risk and some fitness changes, some lifestyle changes. Every one of those decisions in and of themselves at the starting block is terrifying. I don't know how it's gonna play out. I don't know if I'm gonna fall flat on my face. But historically, those terrifying decisions are what made me. The risks I took became the bridges to the life I live now. And right now is no exception. It is a bridge to the future, to an evolved self, a better, improved reality. I think back and wonder, imagine if I didn't go, if I didn't jump. And that's the thing we often forget. There's a cost to not taking risks too. The cost of regret, the cost of what if, the cost of living life from the sidelines while others are in the arena. It's not just about what we risk losing if we leap. It's about what we risk never experiencing if we don't. Life is a game of trade-offs. You can minimize risk and be a spectator, or embrace it and step into unlimited opportunity. Risk is the doorway to transformation. It's the teacher that strips away the inessential and forces you to grow. Let's face it, no one remembers the person who stayed comfortable. No one writes books about the guy who stayed where it was safe. We remember the ones who dared, the ones who said, burn the ships, the ones who said, I don't know what's on the other side, but I'll find out. The ones who knew that rockets don't get to Mars by staying in the hangar. So I go back to the quote, and I remind myself this life isn't about documenting what others do or consuming their pictures or videos or behaviors. It's about writing your own story, one risk at a time, one act of courage at a time. And yes, risk is uncomfortable. Absolutely, it's uncertain. But without it, there's no adventure. Without it, there is no change. Like I said, every single time I look back at my journey, every breakthrough came from stepping out of what was safe, from leaping before I was ready, from risking failure for the chance to build something extraordinary. And that is what I want to leave you with today. The next time life gives you the choice between safety and risk or watching and daring, bet on yourself. Take that leap, burn the ships. Because the greatest tragedy isn't failure. It's never finding out who you could have become had you only been willing to risk it all.